Hello and welcome to another session in mathematics. In this session we'll be looking at the topic linear programming. But before that, let us take a review of a previous lesson. Welcome back. We'll be looking at linear programming. Now I'll be giving us some examples on linear programming that will make us understand what we are dealing with in this topic. So let us start with the introduction. In real life situations, in business and commerce, there are restrictions or constraints which can affect decision making. You know, someone who wants to start up a business, there are some certain things he has to consider before he starts up. That may include capital, land, location, and so on and so forth. Okay, so looking at these things that can limit him or that can restrain him from starting up a business, then how can we draw a graph representing these limitations or restrictions or constraints that affect a business? Okay, how can we present that in a graph? How can we solve the problem of capital, land, location, and all that? You know, some people just go into business without thinking of these things, and that's why when they rush into it, they also rush out of it. After 2 years, the business is no more, and after 3 years again, they think of starting up something else without actually consulting say business administrators who can help them put these things in consideration. Okay, so let's quickly take an example to explain this the more. Okay, so we say here on the screen, to start a new transport company, a businessman needs at least 5 buses. Listen very carefully. He needs at least what? 5 buses and 10 minibuses. He is not able to run more than 30 vehicles altogether. A bus takes up to 3 units of parking space. A minibus takes up to 1 unit of parking space, and there are only 54 units available. Then he said, if X and Y are the numbers of buses and minibuses respectively. Okay, the A part of the question, we are asked to write down 4 inequalities which represent the restriction on the businessman. 4 inequalities that represent what? The restrictions we just talked about. And then the B part of it says we should draw a graph that shows a region representing possible values of X and what? Y. X and Y. Okay, solution. I told us that whenever we are dealing with word problems in mathematics, the first thing we need to do is to understand the question properly, and then we can be able to solve it. From the first sentence, they said to start a new transport company, a businessman needs what? At least 5 buses and what? 10 mini buses. Is that correct? And we are told from the last part of the question that X and Y are what? The numbers of what? Buses and mini buses respectively. So X is the number of what? Buses, and Y is the number of what? Mini buses. So the first inequality is X, which is what? Bus. X is greater than or equal to 5. Do you know why we used greater than or equal to? They said here that a businessman needs at least. At least means that the lowest he should have, is what? Is 5. So it should be from 5 and above. Okay, so it is at least 5, that is equal to 5 or above 5. That is why we are using X to be equal to or what? Greater than 5. Okay, then secondly, we are told that he needs what? At least what? 10 mini buses. 10 mini buses. So Y is greater than or equal to what? 10. That's the second equation. We have this one, we have this two. Then thirdly, he said he is not able to run more than 30 vehicles altogether. 30 vehicles. So it means that the highest vehicle he can possess is 30. Okay, the highest he can possess or buy is what? 30. And we are told that X and Y are buses and mini buses. So it means that the highest he can have is what? X plus Y. And X plus Y is what? Buses and mini buses. Is that correct? The total number of buses and mini buses he should have is what? Less than or equal to what? 30. Is less than or equal to what? 30. He cannot exceed 30. That's why we use the word what? Less than or equal to. So he can have 29 less than 30. He can have 28 and that is less than 30. But the highest he can have is what? Is 30. So we have X plus Y being less than or equal to what? 30. That's our third inequality. And then fourthly, we have here that a bus takes up to what? 3 units of parking space, and a minibus takes up to what? 1 unit of what? Parking space, and there are only 54 units available. Now we have our bus to be X and minibus to be Y, and X, which is our bus, takes what? 3 units. That means what? 3 times X, and that will give us what? 3X. You write down 3X, and then it says that a minibus takes up to what? 1 unit. We have 1, and the value of our minibus is what? Is Y. So Y, 1 times Y will give us what? Y. We have 3X plus what? Y. And then they said, and there are only 54 what? Units available. Only what? 54 units. So it means it cannot exceed what? 54. It cannot exceed 54. You may have less than 54 but not above 54. So we still have what? Less than or equal to 54. And that's our fourth inequality. Now we've succeeded in forming 4 inequalities. When this is formed, we then go over to the B part of the question that said we should draw a graph that shows a region representing possible values of what? X and Y. Okay, so let us go over to the next page. Okay, remember our equations are X is greater than or equal to 5, X is greater than or equal to 5, and then Y is greater than or equal to 10, Y is greater than or equal to 10. Then we have the third one, X plus Y is less than or equal to 30, X plus Y is less than or equal to 30. And then we have the fourth one, 3X plus Y is less than or equal to 54. 3X plus Y is less than or equal to 54. Okay, let us start. We've gotten the value of X and we've gotten the value of Y. Now we need to find the coordinates in the third and fourth equation. So for the third one, which is X plus Y, we'll have X plus Y being less than or equal to 30. When X is 0, then Y is equal to 30, and the first coordinate is 0, 30. When Y is 0, then X is equal to what? 30. So the two coordinates for this is what? 0, 30, and then 30, 0. Is that correct? Okay, let's go over to the fourth equation, which is 3X plus Y is less than or equal to 54. So when X is equal to 0, then Y is equal to what? 54. Okay, and when Y is equal to 0, 3X is equal to 54, and X is equal to 54 divided by 3. 54 divided by 3, which is what? 18. Okay, so we have our two coordinates to be 0, 54 and 18, 0. Okay, let's still go over. We now have X is greater than or equal to 5, Y is greater than or equal to 10. We'll have the third one, 0, 30 and 30, 0, 0, 30 and then 30, 0. Okay, then we have 0, 54 and then 18, 0. 0,54, and then 18,0. So these are the points we will now plot on our graph. Let us start. We'll draw a graph. Don't mind what I'm drawing. Yours should be more presentable. This is our y-axis, and this is the origin 0. Let's take here to be 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. Okay, let's here be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. Okay, so here is minus 10, here is minus 10 too. Let's stop there. Now the first thing we have to plot is what? X is greater than or equal to what? 5. X is greater than or equal to 5. This is X. Okay, X is greater than or equal to what? 5. So at the point where X is 5, that is here, half of 10, what do? We draw it what? Up. We draw it up. Don't mind me, I am taking a sketch. When you want to do this, you do it with a straight line. Use your ruler. Okay, then this is the point where X is greater than or equal to 5. Secondly, we have Y being greater than or equal to 10. This is the point. Okay, you draw it, then you write it. Y is greater than or equal to what? 10. We've done this the second inequality. Then the third one, we have 0. When X is 0, Y is what? Is 30. When X is 0 here, Y is 30. This is the point. When Y is 0, X also is 30, and this is the point. So we join these 2 points together. We join these 2 points together. Then we now write down the equation that gave us these 2 values. Okay, what's the equation that gave us these 2 values? We have them to be X plus Y is less than or equal to 30. You write it down. X plus Y is less than or equal to 30. Okay, then the last one, when X is 0, Y is 54. When X is 0, Y, this is the line Y. So let's assume here is our 54. When you have your graph, you have to do it accurately. Then when Y is 0, X is 18. Okay, this is the point where X is 18. Also draw it down and join the both of them. Draw it down, join the 2 coordinates point. Okay, the region that is the possible value of X and Y is here. Let's call it R. Okay, this is the region that is the possible value of what? X and Y. Okay, so this is just how the graph looks like, and you understood everything we did that has to do with restriction and constraint that stops a man from having his or her own establishment or business. Okay, to refresh your memory of what we've done so far, kindly provide the answer to the following questions on the screen. Welcome back. So far we've been able to deal with linear programming, and we've taken an example to illustrate how it operates. So thank you for being part of today's class. Do well to use the lesson note on the platform for better information on what we've just done, and feel free to leave a comment on the comment section. Okay, till we meet again in our next class, stay safe and bye.